Okay, everybody, looks like we are ready to get started. So welcome to the Roasters Guild webinar here. And in a minute, I'm going to be turning it over to the birthday girl, Miss Sonja Grant, who is the current chair of Roasters Guild of Europe. And Emilio Lopez, it is not his birthday, but he's the other current chair of the SCAA Heritage Roasters Guild. Before we do that, I wanted to, this is Ellie Hudson from the staff, by the way. I wanted to just give you a little bit of information about how to interact on the webinar in case this is your first webinar. So this is a digital format that's designed to be interactive in a little bit of a different way than if we were all in a room together. If you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, you have a few options. One is that you can click the little cartoon hand. Think of it just like raising your hand in the classroom, and we can unmute you, and then you can just speak like normal. Or you can always have the option of typing a question or comment. A couple of you have done that already, thank you. So even if you want to try it, you can go ahead and do that anytime, and we'll respond to you so you can get a feel for it. We'll have some time set aside at the end for some additional questions. You're going to be hearing from a lot of different voices today, so with that, I'd like to get into it. I'll turn it over to Emilio and Sonja.
Well, thank you, Ali, and thank you all for the birthday wishes.
Hi, Sonja. Happy birthday. And hello, everyone.
Hello. Like Ali said, my name is Sonja. I'm from Iceland, so I greet you from Iceland all the way. And Emilio is, I don't know, where are you based?
Yeah, I'm actually based out of El Salvador. I'm the current chair of the Roasters Guild. And actually, it's very exciting moments. This is a time of culmination, I would think. Sonja and I think, when was the first time we started talking about unification, Sonja?
Well, I mean, at least like 1.5 years, maybe.
Yeah, I do remember going back, I think it was Gothenburg, the first time that I, you know, started approaching you and wanted to, you know, get the conversation going and started talking about this, you know, working together and bringing these two groups together, working as a single group. And then, you know, unification got going at the SCA level. And well, you know, it was just a matter of time for this to happen, and I'm glad we're at this point now. What do you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it was in Gothenburg 2015 that we were like starting together and talking about the same language. You know, obviously we have, you know, we are moving to the same direction with our Roasters Guild, so that was just perfect that we came together and I'm starting to be working into the same direction. Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah. So the starting point for this again was, you know, the unification vote at the SCAA, and SCAE. So that, you know, got us started and got us planning. And it was in, you know, January of this year that we decided that we would be creating together a unification committee. And then, you know, we've been working as a unification committee since March. So it's been 6 months of planning and brainstorming and a lot of work. And this group really deserves a lot of, you know, congratulations from everyone. And I think we've done a great job, and especially the people that we're about to introduce to everyone deserve a big round of applause when we see them. It's been a great, you know, 6 months working together with them. So, you know, this meeting, or we're going to be talking a little bit about, you know, what went on in those in that planning time. A little bit also about the history of both RG and RGE, and then what's to come and what are the next steps. So if you, Sonja, would like to start it by introducing the Unification Committee.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the Unification Committee, we have, of course, professionals from both sides. Both from RG and RGE. So we have from the Roasters Guild of Europe, we have Joanna Alm from Sweden. She's been there from the beginning. And then we have Philip, he's from Poland. From the RG side, Emilio, you are there. And then we have I don't know the second name. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Stephen Lee, and Andy Trindle.
Absolutely. So these guys have been doing a fantastic job bringing everything together. Endless and countless meetings, and they have for sure made sure that both sides, both the cultural sides of both organizations, are being heard in the new organization, for sure. That's right.
Awesome. And also, you know, along with us have been two great people, two great ladies representing the staff, and they've been directing us and helping us, you know, get on track and get this going. And these ladies are Isa. And Isa, it's always been a hard time for me to pronounce your last name versus Rockgreen. And then Ellie Hudson. Again, thank you both. You've been very patient with us, and I really, really respect the patience that you guys have had with us. So thank you.
No problem. This is Isa. You did a great job, Emilio, of pronouncing my last name. Don't worry about it. Just Isa is the easiest way to to address me. Hi everyone. I'm Isa. I live in Belgium, in Antwerp. Whenever I am not traveling, I am the Guild's director for SCA, having started in January after the unification. And previously, I was the Guild's manager for the SCAE. So I've been working with different guilds and volunteer groups and the leadership of the guilds on the European side, the Barista Guild of Europe and the Roasters Guild of Europe, for close to 3 years, I guess, before the unification of SCAE and SCAA happened, and I took over the role of Guild's director, managing the guilds on both sides of the Atlantic, and really I've been really honored and inspired to be working with this group of people on both from the European side as well as the US side, and really trying to understand both the differences as well as the similarities. And the passion that all of these people have brought forward has been, for me, really inspirational, and every day it's a pleasure to be working with you. So the patience it comes easily. It's no work. So, and I am really glad that I have a great colleague, Ellie Hudson, to support me on this project.
Yeah, thank you, Isa.
Thanks, Isa. Well, to talk a little bit about the governance of the RG and the RGE, I'm going to first talk a little bit about the how are we structured on the Roasters Guild and how that, you know, is going to change. Currently, we have 12 members on the executive council, and out of those, 3 officers. So our current Roasters Guild Executive Council is comprised again by 12 people. Of 12 people, having as a vice chair Nolan Dutton, Mary Telly as the immediate past chair, and then the members, the executive members at large, are David Myers, Ann Cooper, Danny Goot, Joe Morocco, Bill Ansted, Stephen Lee, Tony Auger, and Jen Apodaca, and then Rob Hoos. And then I'm currently leading that group. I'm Emilio Lopez, and I've been the chair since April. Our terms go, the officer terms go for a year, and then the members at large go for a 2-year term. And we have elections pretty much every year for the vacant seats. That's a little bit about how we are structured on our side. and probably Sonja can tell us a little bit about their side and how they come up with their leaders over there.
Yes. Okay. So because we are a little bit the younger organization than you guys, Emilio, we are still in the process of structuring our organization. So this working group consists of professionals that were hand chosen. They were not elected because we are just in the process of structuring our how we elect our leaders. So this is a group of fantastic professionals that I've been working with now for almost 1.5 years. We have Philip Bartelak. He's leading the education along with Morten Munchau, and then we have Philip Åkerblom. We are collecting Philips, so sometimes it's a little bit confusing. Philip Åkerblom, he's from Sweden and he is leading events committee. Then we have Lisa Lawson. She's a roaster in Scotland, in Glasgow, and she's the membership and communications. We have Joanna Allen. She's in the Unification. She's on this call as well. Amazing lady. We have Konrad Oleksak. He's with Philip Åkerblom in the events. And Morten Munchau also, he's the chair with education. And this is the group of committee chairs. And like Emilio, I'm the one leading these amazing professionals in the Roasters Guild of Europe working group.
Awesome, thank you. So now we're going to move along and talk a little bit about the history of both groups, and that part right now is going to be led by Stephen Lee. So Stephen, please take it away. Tell us a little bit about the history of the Roasters Guild.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Great. So a little bit about the history of the Roasters Guild. It was founded in the year 2000, and the mission is to support the professional coffee roaster and promote the craft of roasting. And really the vision would be to be the voice of the global coffee community and coffee roasting professionals. If you can move to the next slide if you want. But from its inception, the Roasters Guild has really sought to bring coffee roasting professionals together to support each other and form a community. I think that's a really big part of really what the Guild is. And the other part is about education. So really it emerged from the Roasters Roundtable discussions kind of held by Don Schunhold back in the 90s. That used to be at the SCAA Expo, and the Roasters Guild officially formed in 2000 when a handful of industry professionals really were looking to put the focus back into specialty coffee and coffee focus, focusing on education and helping the professional coffee roaster really get the tools they needed to succeed. I think that the attitude at the time was a lot of the expo was sort of like a showroom place and a place to kind of meet and greet, but not a lot of education was being had, or at least what was felt by a lot of our members. And they really wanted to put the focus back on giving people the abilities to succeed. From those handful of members, we're currently at around 880 members strong. Retreat has been a focus since the beginning, and that was really one of the focuses and one of the things of building the community, solidifying a community and providing an outlet for education and discussions really intended to forward the craft of roasting. We've been selling out this event, and it usually sells out of upwards of 300 attendees. One of the other parts of the history of the Roasters Guild is origin trips, and those were really early on designed to give focus to roasters having an experience at origin, learn more about coffee processing, and really getting a hands-on perspective about how things work. And now we have the addition of Sensory Summit as well, and this is an event tailored towards more technical, research-driven, and cross-industry learning. And these three kind of activities or events form the basis of education and community building for the Roasters Guild. Since its start, Roasters Guild, we've really focused on paving the way in developing standards. Really, Roasters Guild was one of the first places to really develop cupping as an industry standard. When I started attending Roasters Guild, a lot of folks hadn't even cupped before, a lot of the roasters. And now almost every roaster cups. Most people use this as a daily activity and a daily tool, which is pretty amazing to set the standard for that. It's also helped to define a lot of terminology relating to roasting and roast defects, promoted a lot of standards for green buying and a lot of depth of understanding and knowledge for green buying, and Roasters Guild has been a big proponent of spreading that knowledge too. And we've also worked on and participated in studies in conjunction with the SEA of defining thresholds for freshness and packaging for the industry. Today, the Roasters Guild continues to develop new material. We're working on a production and quality assurance cupping form, working on a financial benchmark study in conjunction with the SEA, and really helping roasters interpret data and, again, get a leg up. And that's really what the Roasters Guild is all about, working and forming a community. Today, we're also really focusing on member-driven events and localized roasters groups, and kind of working on an outreach of the community. So that's a little bit about the history of the Roasters Guild and where we're kind of going.
Thank you, Stephen. And also, could you tell us a little bit about the volunteer part of the Roasters Guild and how people have, traditionally come to the event, and how is that put together and all that?
Yeah, traditionally the Roasters Guild, it's a volunteer organization, and a lot of the education and a lot of like how everything gets done is done on a volunteer basis. So you can really get organized. It's one of the ways that I really got involved in the Roasters Guild, is helping to teach classes, starting out being a porter or washing dishes, but really just getting involved in the community. We're really kind of driven and helped and supported by volunteers. So education and all of these things and all of the programming has really been designed and helped by the volunteer commitments of industry members and members of the Roasters Guild.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, great, fantastic. And to talk about the history of Roasters Guild of Europe, we have our own Joanna. Joanna, you wanna tell us a little bit about the history?
Yeah, Sonja, I would love to. We've been down the road together. So, hello everyone. I'm happy to be here today. A little bit about Roasters Guild of Europe for those of you who want to get into the loop. The Roasters Guild of Europe is the trade guild of SEA. It is the fourth guild after the Barista Guild of Europe. It is founded as a part of SEA as well. Just like Roasters Guild, we are very much like focused on education, connectivity, leadership. We are doing this like through events, through online platform, and just trying to like meet and share knowledge together. We are a very diverse, like Europe is so different. If you look at, say, the Italian coffee culture compared to the Turkish, compared to the Baltic or England or to the Nordic culture. So it's so diverse, and it's really interesting to try to create a guild and make those people come together. And as Sonja was saying, like we're very young. We were founded in September 2015 at Frankfurt Airport. A bunch of experienced roasters and like very nicely handpicked people, absolutely. There are plenty of good roasters in not only Scandinavia and Europe, like there are people starting up all the time. So it's really been a great pleasure in trying to make these people work together. We had our first meeting. We can take the next slide, I think. We had our first Roasters Guild camp, Roasters Guild of Europe camp, happening in Estonia, 2016. It was sold out. We had over 80 roasters attending. Like to see all of this culture that attached, like meeting and come together, and just for like so much energy. It was our first event. As you can see, we are a tiny group. Everything is small from the working group and like where we come from, but we really have like been working incredibly hard, and it's so cool to see what a community that we have built in an incredibly short amount of time. But I would say that what we're trying to do is to motivate the young part of the roasting community, but also to have the dynamic with like the older and the more experienced one. So now we are currently working on our event that is going to be in Poland. So it's our second one. The first one being such a big hit is phenomenal. We have 991 members, and we are consistently growing. Like, it's insane how much energy there is to catch in Europe. But again, like we're young, and it's taking a lot of work for everyone involved. We are young as an organization. We got the energy, and we got a lot of good ideas. We're good at listening to each other. We are good at trying to lift and to see the diversity. We are maybe having slightly less bureaucracy than the Roasters Guild, but we have a lot of good fundamentals to build something amazing and to be able to do it together with you guys. Fantastic. We have a mission as well. Maybe I should read that. You can see that on the screen. It says to develop roasting positions through knowledge sharing, inspiration, and collaboration. So, do you have any questions?
Awesome, Joanna.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about both histories, the RG and the RGE. And I think we're moving along now to the whys. Why merge and why unify, and what is there to come, and what will be the solid and real benefits of the members. So I think Andy and Philip are going to talk a little bit about that. So if you guys can share with us what's to come and why unify.
Absolutely. Thank you, Emilio. I'll start. One of the amazing things is that with this unification is that I can say at the same time, good morning and good afternoon, and it's beautiful. Before we get to the pros, can we jump to the another slide? Before we get to the pros of unification, let's look at the challenges first. From the very beginning of unification process, we've been aware of many turbulences that may occur on the way, and we come from different cultures, different countries. We have different languages, ways of dealing with difficulties, solving problems. We are all different, and that may bring us to many difficulties on the way. But defining them is one of the keys that we can actually work on dealing with them. We have different managing styles, different optics, but we have one goal, which is specialty coffee and the roasting, and that brings us all together. Many of those challenges, they may seem difficult for one side and not difficult for the other. We are different. We're coming from different organizations, and we have solved some of the problems in the US side, the RG side, and some of the problems have been solved in the European side. I think that the maintaining local relevance in a global organization is one of the issues. Especially that the global organization is huge, and it's asking for some governance and some managing style that requires specific actions and language. I come from the European side, so I'm aware of how we work, and we're very like a family. We're dealing with everything all together. We don't have one person who's managing or who's leading. We have the whole team. That's in contradiction to the other side, where there's a nice, well-organized governance. And this may be the challenge for one side. We have the potential feeling of loss and alienation from heritage members that may occur, especially that we will have different people coming in not known by the others. And we think of how to manage that, how to become friends with those who don't know us. Of course, the increased travel costs for international events, but I think that this can be managed somehow. We don't have to go every year to one of the sites. We can jump in here and in there to see the differences, especially with those different cultural approaches. This is super interesting, and it's very inspiring. Of course, communication across many languages. This is not new to the European side, because we have different countries and all the countries speak different languages, and we have managed that, and hopefully our experience will bring us to the solution to also this. So I think I'm very positive about the challenges. Of course, there are the challenges, but I think that we can focus on the opportunities, on the pros now, which are strong. Andy?
Yes, good morning, everyone. This is Andy over on the Roasters Guild America side. It's been really fantastic and challenging to work on unification of these two guilds over the course of almost over a year now. There's been a lot of work behind the scenes. And one of the things that has kept me going the entire time is I just think there are so many great opportunities to this unification. You know, we need to do it. Our parent organizations merged and everyone voted for that merger, but there really are a lot of great reasons to do it. So I'm just going to talk through a couple of them that you can also, or a few of them that you can also read on the slide. But one of the key things is that we are a global community in specialty coffee, and coffee roasters are a global community. We find each other out at events. We find each other out when we're just traveling the world to meet each other, to get to know each other, because we are a global group. So it's a great opportunity to bring two of the largest global groups together into one and to bring in a whole bunch more people. In terms of what that means, we do need global leadership for a global group, and that's part of the process of creating a new unified coffee roasters guild. Bylaws that we've been working steadily on, getting our leadership aligned between the two groups, because we need that global leadership. With this, we can start moving forward with common language between us. As Philip was saying, there are distinctions. We do things differently, but a goal that would help all of us elevate specialty coffee and specialty coffee roasting would be to have a common language and to have global standards that everyone universally adopts. It's a big project. It's a big long-term vision, but I think unifying our guild and moving forward is going to be a critical stepping point to get there. Obviously, more people coming together means more resources, more opportunity, more great ideas. So that's always a great thing about bringing groups together. We, on at least the US side for sure, have had an increasing demand over years for more Roasters Guild events. We have demand for more content in our education, for more community, for more connection. So this bringing us these two large groups and creating a larger global group will allow us to meet some of that demand. Also diversity. We really embrace diversity, and as part of crafting the bylaws for the new unified guild and setting structure for committees, we actually even created a diversity committee. We're very committed to wanting to see the global roasters group diverse, and this is a great opportunity to do that. And then in terms of this specifically addresses one of the challenges, which, well, if we globalize, how do we make sure to maintain local relevance and local access for roasters? This was something the US was actually struggling with already, just with the US managed group. But what's really fantastic about this merger, I think, for us, is that the Roasters Guild of Europe already worked in a sort of different structure, a chapter structure, where they had local level leadership that connected to the parent organization. As part of the merger and the new bylaws, the first year, the membership committee is going to be working very specifically on creating a framework for local leadership that is connected to our global structure. And we're going to be able to borrow from some of the great work that Roasters Guild Europe already had in that area. So it's a great opportunity for us to both get a global connection and also learn and do more with local leadership to make sure we don't lose touch with everybody on a local level. And those are just a few of the opportunities that I think are very exciting and have certainly kept me motivated over the course of the last year to work towards this.
Awesome, Andy and Philip, thank you. And you know, this is, as I said earlier, these are exciting times, and you know, hearing those opportunities just made all the challenges look very simple. But yeah, so now moving along on where we are actually, how far into this are we, and you know, again, what's next?
Joanna, you want to talk about that a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, I would love to. Like, it's been happening a lot, as you say, like since we first met in Santa Ana at SCA's headquarters, which was in March, but it feels like we've been working on this a very, very long time, and it's been super intense. So we met there representing the Roasters Guild working group, where the Roasters Guild of Europe working group was me and Conrad at that case, and in Emilio and Andy were representing the executive council. And these were like probably like the best kickstart that we could get. Like, everything were very vibrant, and we came very, like, you know, with open arms and open minds, and we're being very honest and transparent of our worries and challenges and opportunities, and how to make the very best out of this, and also to make a schedule in what's needed to be done. So together with Ellie and Isa as staff, I think we had like so good like foundations in making this happen, and like making us come through all the stages that we have so far. So what we were gonna do is to create bylaws and rules of procedure for the unified guilds. These were going to be going backwards and forward later on, and it's a long process up until we came up with the final result for voting. But if we reverse back to the very first meeting, we like directly sat down and were created a name, we created a vision, we created a mission for the unified guild. And this again is like feedback that we later have taken back to the Roasters Guild and Roasters Guild of Europe for feedback, and been tweaking and shaping and going back on our monthly meetings, and sometimes even more often than so, and up until we were happy, and our working groups and the Executive Council were happy with it to put out for voting. So that's actually where we are exactly now.
Oh, fantastic. I love this mission and vision. They are really, really exciting, and I'm looking forward to actually, you know, going into the work and fulfill them. I think they are really exciting, and having the diversity in that, it's just something that all of us are aiming for.
Shall I read out the mission and the vision as well, and say a little about how we were thinking?
That would be great.
So for the mission, the final tweeted one goes as follows: to inspire a diverse coffee community through the development and promotion of the roasting profession. But every word in this sentence have been heavily weighed. So we're talking about the importance of representing all of the countries and all of the states, like still working local, but also the strengths of having like accessibility to the guild and for everyone to feel welcome and that is relevant for the roasters to join. Looking at the vision that goes as to be the most desired and thriving community of engaged member, attracting every coffee roaster worldwide. So this is what the future the Coffee Roaster Guild is going to be. So it's something that every roaster in the world would like to be a part of. So no, but it's actually about like trying to like, okay, make ourselves as attractive as possible and to both establish roasters and to new people entering the business and into like just coming into the roasting sector. So, and we need to be like super active to and have members involved and making sure that there are proper values for them to hear like what the member really wants. That's all that that it is like a positive loop in a way, a positive feedback that we need to feed all the time to make sure that we are meeting this. Yeah, to be what.
So new start, huh? New name, new start. I would think new logo and bylaws and all that. That is exciting. So probably someone else could tell us a little bit about, do we have a logo and do we have a name? What is the name for everyone and what are the acronyms for them?
Maybe Ellie?
I will jump in. This is Isa. I think Ellie's just logged off for a little bit for another commitment.
I'm here.
Oh, she's here. Ellie, take it away.
Yep. All right, 1 second. All right, so what is next for us? Are you guys excited to hear the new name?
Absolutely.
It will be the Unified. The Unified Guild will be the Coffee Roasters CRG. The is small case and only used in certain cases with like writing so that it's not awkward. The logo is still in development, but we'll be seeing that soon. We'll have brand new bylaws. I think that Joanna mentioned we are currently ratifying those bylaws from both sides as well. And the new leadership, which will be a 12-person leadership structure for the very first cycle for the first year, which we anticipate will start soon. Officially, it will run from the 1st of February to the end of January of each year. So starting February 1st, 2018 to the end of January 2019, we will be governed by a leadership slate that's chosen by the Unification Committee. And then after that, we'll hold elections, global elections that will be run probably sometime around the month of October is our goal. For the first year, just like the SCA did, we will just use what we call the Heritage Leadership Organization. It will be balanced between 6 and 6. There will be 4 officers and 8 at-large members. The 4 officers will be 2 and 2 each from Roasters Guild of Europe and the Heritage SCAA Roasters Guild. And then the remaining 8 participants will be 4 and 4 from each organization respectively. So recognizing that both RGE and RG are already global organizations that are welcoming and to have members from many countries, we know that it's going to be a great opportunity to kind of streamline into one strong global community, the first intentionally global guild made from the out of the Unified SCA and with respect to those members. So the most important thing is the shared community. I think that this group would all agree.
Thank you, Ali.
All
Sounds
right.
very exciting.
So structure-wise, how is this all going to happen? We have members on one side, like Roasters Guild members of the Heritage SCAA. We're members solely also of the Roasters Guild. And now, how is everything going to play out? If you're a member, how do you register, or how does all that structure work?
Yeah, thanks, Ellie, for letting us know where we're at now. And so, indeed, it is kind of questionable of what does it mean? What does it mean if you're a member, and how do we become part of this unified guild? And it will be very easy. We're really trying every day to make this easy for our members, and of course with the unification and bringing two associations together, it is potentially challenging, and we are really working through some of those issues, but it will be very straightforward. If you are already a current member, you will be able to renew at the same rate that you've had before. So members of Heritage, SEAA, Roasters Guild, they will be able to renew and be part of the Unified Coffee Roasters Guild at the same rate. Similarly, members under SEAE will be able to join for the same rate and renew their membership. Now, there's a small difference between being a Heritage Roasters Guild member or being a Roasters Guild of Europe member. You were always part of the Heritage at SEAE, and we didn't really have an individual Roasters Guild of Europe membership. So for anyone who is a current member of SEAE, you can now sign up as an individual to the Roasters Guild. If you're interested in joining the Roasters Guild, you can sign up as an individual roaster member, or you can renew. When you renew your membership, you can sign up as that individual roaster. With that new structure in place that is already existing, there's already an individual roaster membership. You gain access not only to the Roasters Guild benefits, but also to the benefits of the entire association of SEA. And so that's one of the biggest benefits with the unification of SEAE and SEAA, is that every member has a vote. One member, one vote. So as a Roasters Guild member, you also have a voice in what the entire association does. So any new member, anyone who is interested in joining, can, from today, can join as an individual roaster, and you will get benefits currently from both Roasters Guild and Roasters Guild of Europe. Once the Unified Coffee Roasters Guild is entirely and structurally in place, you will all become part of that global unified guild. In addition to the individual membership, there's also a company members. Both Heritage SEAA and SEAE had company members. Now with the unification, those companies have the opportunity to sign up employees as company individual members. We have an acronym for that because we love acronyms, and they are called CIMs. So CIM is a company individual member. And so as an employee of a member company, you can sign up to any of the guilds. There's, depending on the size of your company and sort of the category that your company has, of the membership category, you have a number of employees that you can sign up to the guild. So if you work for a member company, ask your company representative to sign you up to the Roaster Guild or a Barista Guild or Technicians Guild, if that's where your interest lies. And so that is a big benefit that came with the new unified membership structure as well. So really, there's a huge opportunity for our members and for our companies to sign up as where the interest of the individual lies. And for the Coffee Roasters Guild, this means that almost from the get-go, we have a big community, a big membership that is already global. As Andy mentioned in the opportunities, we are already serving a very global and diverse membership. And so with the Unified Coffee Roasters Guild, we just are taking on that opportunity to make sure that we are structured in a way to really serve that global membership.
That is pretty cool. And just like Stephen was saying earlier, so this is a volunteer organization, and volunteers can sign up for volunteering. And how do they get involved? And you know, how could people start getting involved besides being members? Because some people do want to contribute, and some people want to sign up for volunteering.
Sure, absolutely. There's a number of ways you can get involved. We are a volunteer association. The entire SCA relies on people in the community to help us identify the needs and to help us identify different ways in how you can progress. And the Roasters Guild has different ways to get involved and to help direct the Roasters Guild, but the bigger association as well, in creating those benefits for you and creating different ways and different tools to help you get better at your profession and develop you as a professional roaster and develop the roasting community in general. There's an opportunity to get involved with different committees. We are working out the structure, as I mentioned, and so the leadership group will be called an advisory council of those 12 people globally will work with different committees. For example, as we are currently already having on our structure, both on the Roasters Guild or the Roasters Guild of Europe side, we have, for example, an events committee, people that are focusing on the development of the different events that the Roasters Guild put on. We have a membership or membership and communications committee. We will have, and this is new in the Unified Roasters Guild, we'll have a diversity committee, really to make sure that we almost check within our own operations with the Roasters Guild, within our own activities, that we make sure that we keep in mind the diverse community that we're serving. And so we are working with different communities, and we're always interested to hear from people who are willing to contribute to the ideas and to the activities that the Roasters Guild will put on. So volunteering in committees is one of the great ways to start volunteering with the Roasters Guild, to start getting involved in a little bit more of a leadership position. It is also the way to progress into the advisory council. Another way where most of our volunteers really start is volunteering at events. We always need helping hands during our events, and it can mean a busser, or it can mean an instructor. We always need people who help out, making sure that our events run smoothly and have great speakers and have great instructors to help out. So that's one of the sort of easiest way to get involved in the community, to meet a lot of people from the leadership and to experience that within sort of the event setting. Another way to get involved is regional activities. We've mentioned that we are working to make sure that we continue to develop benefit on a local level. So Steve mentioned member-driven events. We have a structure in Europe with the chapters, and so there's different ways that we'll put on regional activities that you can get involved in, hosting a member-driven event, bringing your community together, supported by the Coffee Roasters Guild. Of course, if you are wondering, or if you have issues or questions or concerns, these webinars are great to just learn about where we are, what's been done, and what is still to come. And this isn't a process that is done entirely or separately from our members. We really need the involvement from all of you to help us through this. We are doing this for the community, and so we need the voice of the community to help us make sure that what we do is relevant for everyone that we have in our membership and in our community. So please help us out, help us help you, and always be free to send us any feedback that you have. So those, I think, are the main ways to get involved in the Coffee Roasters Guild.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic, Isa. Fantastic. So speaking about events, maybe we should talk a little bit about what kind of events are upcoming in our fields. Maybe Steve and Philip, you wanna tell us a little bit about what's happening in the next season?
Yeah, how about Steve? How about if you start, because we have a RG event coming up next week, actually, which I'm very curious and happy to be, and I'm looking forward to that. So could you tell a little bit about the RG retreat, and then I'm gonna jump into the Roasters Guild of Europe camp.
Sure. So what we're currently doing, again, we usually have 3 different events, but upcoming next week is the Roasters Guild Retreat 2017. And, you know, one of the great things about Unification is we've been talking a little bit about, and we've been getting a lot of demands about increasing the number of events and more topics. And I think Unification is a really great way where we can pool our resources and potentially offer a lot more of these events. So Retreat is just one of the examples. Right now, again, Retreat is really focused on hands-on learning and community building. We have a lot of really great topics. This year, we're focusing and having some discussions on water activity and Maillard reactions, talking a little bit about degassing and its flavor implications. And we'll also be giving people a little bit more opportunity to interact about Unification and having a good time to talk to us about Unification and if there's any questions. And that's coming up the 17th through 20th of August in Beaufort, Georgia.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be there, especially that I just have the experience of our camp last year, which was the first camp that we had in Europe, which was a tremendous success that no one expected. Not because we sold all the tickets, but because we got great feedback from the attendees, which was actually giving us the wings to create a new one. And I'm very happy to have the new Roasters Guild of Europe camp in Poland, in my home country, which is I'm overwhelmed. Anyway, the Roasters Guild of Europe camp is coming up in October. It starts on 4th and ends on 7th. In our camp, we implemented some of the ideas from the retreat, but we do it in our way. So it's really interesting to see both of these events to get the insights of all the approaches to the same topic, to the same goal. From the last year, I know that we've been questioning a few of the issues and creating new ideas, new ways of solving, of understanding what's been on for years. So this is very exciting. But I'm also looking forward to some of the other events that you guys will have, which is what? It's on the next slide. Is the Sensory Summit? Oh, no.
Actually, Roasters Guild origin trips. So one of the other things that we do is with Roasters Guild is produce origin trips. Again, with Unification, I think we can really increase the number of origin trips, and this is really a great hands-on way to go to origin. It's a really good introduction to a country. If you haven't been to a country, it's a really good way to get a survey of a country. This next origin trip coming up is October 14th through the 21st. It's in Colombia, and it's going to be really great. We're really taking, and you already alluded to Sensory Summit, which is on the next slide, but it's taking a lot of the topics from Sensory Summit and really putting it in a hands-on origin context, this Colombia origin trip. So we're going to be, again, focusing on fermentation and its flavor implications, talking about water activity and storage and how that works at origin. And we're also going to be really focusing on variety tastings and trials that we really had other big picture topics discussing at Sensory Summit. We're really trying to plan 4 to 6 different origin trips per year. We're focusing on hopefully like emerging or new countries. Potentially next year, like China is a possibility. And we also have sort of a beginner contract with Costa Rica, which is a really great beginners origin trips. They really have like the trip planning and the organization dialed in, and it's a really great first time trip as well. The other event that we like to focus on, and hopefully we can expand upon, is the next slide, which is Sensory Summit. And Sensory Summit's maybe a little bit less hands-on, but really as far as like activities, but most of the activities involve tasting and cross-industry exploration. So really focusing on big picture topics, education, and sensory science. And a lot of our past topics really feed in and really promote a lot of discussion. One of the past topics was microbiology of fermentation in coffee and the impacts of flavors, tastings and variety trials from WCR, talking about how the similarities between cacao and the tasting and grading process are. This is where we introduced the new flavor wheel for the SCAA in conjunction with Texas A&M University. And we also did an activity exploring the honey flavor wheel, which has been around actually longer than the coffee flavor wheel, and how that worked. And one of the other topics we did was crossing wine and coffee and those similarities and how we explore terroir. So there's a lot of really great things coming up with events. And again, hopefully with a unified system that we can really increase these events and actually like have a lot more events at a lot of different places and keep these coming and really keep the discussions going on and add more to the conversation.
That is great, Stephen. And one quick question, like there's a lot of different coffee events around the world. Some of them focus and are hosted at origin. Some of them are in consuming countries. Is there a chance that within, just like in Colombia, we are going to be part, just at least for one day or half a day of their Expo Especiales, because we're going to go into their event. Is there also talks about possibly, or is it a possibility that we are also invited to other countries or into other events that they might be hosting us for a morning, just like an RG event within other events?
Definitely, and that's part of the conversations that we're having. Is a lot of the times, like with this Colombia trip, we're actually ending at Expo Especiales. They're doing a special tasting of a lot of the juried competitions and inviting us to participate and see the auction process at Colombia's Expo Especiales. And because a lot of the times we'll coordinate with other countries to really line up and really see what they have to offer as well.
Guatemala is just having one convention right now, El Salvador, Mexico, and I'm pretty sure that happens all around the world, and it would be great to have the RG also present at those events.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And we have another events coming up, which are the events that we have every year. We have the Global Specialty Coffee Expo, which I love to go and see. But I'll start with the World of Coffee, which will be held in Amsterdam. And this is worth going, not only because of the Amsterdam itself, but because of the whole community, all the Babylon that we have in Europe. We have so many different cultures coming in and sharing their experiences. This year in Budapest was the biggest success of. This is what I've heard. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this was the biggest success of World of Coffee ever in the history. So I'm so looking forward to what's going to be in the Amsterdam. But how about the Global Specialty Coffee Expo in US? Where is it going to be? Is it Seattle, Steve?
Yep, sorry, I was muted. Yes, the next Global Coffee Expo is going to be in Seattle. It'll be great. We're again hosting it again in Seattle, and also with that RICO Symposium is also going to be part of that as well. So I think it's another really great opportunity to get involved in the conversations on a global level. And also we hopefully have a potential talking about origin trips to do a reverse origin trip with Seattle. I've been approached by Costa Rica actually to help to organize a group of Costa Rican roasters and working with the Roasters Guild and take them actually up to the United States, to Seattle, and sort of like organize a roasters trip, an origin trip for the folks at Origin. So that'll be a really, hopefully that comes together, and that'll be another great opportunity, again, kind of like making the globe a smaller place and really increasing the conversations and seeing what the potentials have to offer by sharing our knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Wow. It seems to be a lot of events, exciting events happening in the next season. So that's going to be something to look forward to, obviously. Maybe we should go into some questions. Thank you, Philip, and thank you, Steve. Maybe we should go into some questions. Maybe we will have somebody out there that wants to ask some exciting questions.
It seems that we haven't had any questions come through, so just for everyone's clarity, you can type in your questions and we'll be able to see them pop in the back end here of the webinar section, and we can direct you to the right person to answer them. So feel free to type in your questions if you have any. Any feedback that you have is welcome too. So anything that you're thinking about, any doubts that you have around this process, different ideas that you have, things that you would like to see the Coffee Roasters Guild do in the future, anything at all is really welcome. Any questions about anything we've gone through throughout this webinar as well, of course. So we'll wait a few moments to see if there's any questions coming in from the attendees. It looks like we have questions coming in from Christina. Can you let me see if I can? There you go. You should be unmuted at this point.
Hello, ciao to everyone. I'm Cristina, the National Coordinator of SKE Italy. It's great. It's very interesting, and it's not a question. It's a suggestion. I will share the contents of this webinar with my members in Italy, because I think it's very important that Italian roasters have to be in touch with these things. I want that they can evolve them, they can get in touch with these new tendencies, and we have to be open-minded, and we have to share. I think that I will share the contents and also the link of this webinar if I'm able to do that, and then I suggest you to send a letter or something else to the companies, to the roasters, and suggest them to make subscriptions to catch the occasion to have a professional roaster individual of their companies involved to give somebody this role into the companies, because I have a lot of members, they don't have nominated anyone and so on. And I think that this is a good way to get in touch with this important project, also for Italian roasters. That's all.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Christina. Yeah, thank you very much. I think all the members, I mean, this webinar is recorded and it will be available in our newsletter. So that would be easy to access. Definitely, I think it's very interesting for all the roasters in the world, of course. So definitely, this webinar will be easy to access through our newsletter for sure.
Exactly, and I think thanks, Christina, for raising this and reminding us how important it is to really share the information. We're also planning a follow-up webinar as well a little bit later in our progress, which we'll also make available, and we're hoping to share at that point, share the next stage and share where we're at that point. And in addition as well, exactly to make sure that we email our company members to give them the chance to sign up. We have been working through this process already, and so any support that anyone can give us really to share the message that if you are a company member or if you work for a company, you can sign up to the guild as an individual roaster or a Roasters Guild member. I think Eduardo had a question too, so Eduardo, go ahead and share what your question was. Go ahead, Eduardo. I think we can hear you now. We should be able to.
Yes, is the Coffee Summit in El Salvador listed as one of your events?
Oh, great question. Emilio or Steve, is that one that you were?
Yeah, so this is just an example of the other coffee events that I was talking about around the world. Pretty much there are coffee events in Colombia, Guatemala, Mexico, at least on this side of the world. Peru, it's another good example. These events are private events that are typically hosted by private associations locally. And yes, I would think that it would be possible for RG or CRG to come and be involved in this event. It's not listed as one of our events because it is not one of our events. This is a private event that if we would be invited to have something or participation, or even some of our volunteers could come in, or instructors could come and give a class or a workshop, that would be a way for this countries that have already some events be involved in that. But currently it's not listed because it is not our event or SCA events. Stephen, would you like to add something?
Not really, but I also, again, I think that this is one of the great opportunities with a unified guild. I think as a global guild organization, I think that we have a lot more opportunities to reach out on a more worldwide level and to see ourselves as more global to the organizers of these events like Prom Peru or FNC Expo Especiales or El Salvador Tacto Consejo or the privatized places, and really create a place in a format, in a forum for Roasters Guild CRG to be there and to be able to present and at least get us on the calendar so that our members know that these events are happening and they're going on, and that they can also seek interest on what that looks like too. So if nothing else, like really working with these organizations and calendaring them and making it where it's on the radar and people can attend and kind of talk about it if they want to.
Great. Thank you, Emilio and Steve. To that end, it seems that events is really the one of the main benefits that we can offer and a big opportunity for the Unified Guild. And Conrad also had a question around that. Conrad?
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Hi to all, and happy birthday, Sonja.
Thank you.
Hello.
Go ahead, Conrad.
Hi. My question actually was about, because you guys in the US are organizing, of course, great events, and you have more experience in that. And one of the events that I really admire is the Sensory Summit. And my question was, is Coffee Roasters Guild gonna do such events in Europe as well? Or, I mean, yeah, are they gonna be in Europe as well, or are they gonna stay in the US?
That's a great question.
Or there are gonna be some sort of a new events created together, basically, as a Coffee Roasters Guild in the future?
To be honest, and I will let Stephen also weigh in a little bit. To be honest, Conrad, currently at this moment we have a lead, and we do, because there's demand for this event also in Asia. So we do have a lead, and there's talks about doing a summit also right now coming up next year in Asia. But definitely this unification is gonna first bring us closer to Europe, and then that would just be opening up the door to start, whether we want to call it summit or you know, ours, the one in the United States is Sensory Summit. We try to leave it with the word sensory because we did want to focus solely on the evaluation, sensorial evaluation of coffee, and also explore other industries, how they evaluate their other products. We can still have a summit in other countries or in Europe, and just have the topic or the theme be different. So yes, this is a great example and a great door or opportunity to have another summit, a CRG summit in Europe. Stephen, would you like to ask? And Steve is currently a member of the events committee, specifically on the origin trips. And it'd be great also to do a summit in an origin country, specifically on something, you know, roasting, regarding roasting. I don't know, Stephen, if you have any ideas or want to weigh in.
No, I think you kind of covered it, where it would be, you know, having it in Europe, I think is again a huge opportunity, and I would love to try to plan something or get this organized in Europe. And also, again, like as we expand our outreach, working with origin countries and maybe doing something at origin as well. I also wanted to invite, you know, Joanna, if you have any insight, because I know that you've been working on some sensory stuff there, and if you have any insight about any events or any more specific events regarding Sensory Summit, or trying to organize events that you'd like to have in Europe, and where you guys are headed as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is one of the things that triggers me the most and makes it, like, yeah, really engaging to unify with you, that we can get so much more access to knowledge and to events like this, and even more community and more research and all of that. Like, that's just what we want. Like, talking for myself, like personal business wise, that's what I want to have a greater access to. And as the Coffee Roasters Guild, like, it's all about, like, whatever our members want, we will try to organize and will try to make happen, like whatever that might be. But for me, it's equal. Like, it's like, personally, just yes, like, I would love to have that in Europe, and now it's actually possible. Yeah, like I see all the opportunities, and again, like anything the members are asking for and demanding, that we're gonna try to please and make happen, and like dream big, think everything, like what are you missing, and come with this feedback to us. Yeah. So frankly, no, it's nothing planned yet, but everything is possible. Just let us know.
Fantastic. Do we have any more questions? Isa, did you see any more questions out there?
No, there's currently not any more questions popping up at this point. So I believe that we can wrap up the webinar at this point, and there's always ways to get in touch. I mentioned the different ways to volunteer, but also if you're just looking to share some feedback or input, we created an email address, crg@sca.coffee, that feel free to use at any time and to share any feedback. The email gets forwarded to the people on this webinar, including myself and Ali as staff, and we really want to hear from you on what the community wants. So please let us know.